Welcome to Daps Magic, the podcast. I'm Mr. Daps. For 20 years, Daps Magic has been a place for people to celebrate Disney and positive stuff. On April 2nd, 2004, Daps Magic was born out of a wish to create a kind community of Disney fans. That has grown and continues to grow through the years. For this first episode of Daps Magic, the podcast, we thought it'd be fun to make this an introduction of Daps Magic for those who are brand new and those who've been around a while. We will share about the origins of Daps Magic, memories through the years, and also take a look forward. Most of us were available to record together, but we've also sprinkled a few other submissions in this podcast as well. As we move into this podcast about Disney and positive stuff, we hope that you will take a moment to subscribe wherever you're listening to this. Join the conversation in the comments, or maybe also leave a review. We would love to connect with you also on our Patreon community. Now, let's talk about Daps. Well, welcome everybody. I'm so happy that you are all here as we look back at 20 years of Daps Magic. It's hard to believe that we have come so far from something that was so very little when it started. And I guess the first thing we should do is talk about where Daps started many, many years ago, about right now, in fact, 20 years ago. We were in a group online that we were like, you know what? I think we could do better. And it was kind of tongue-in-cheek and it was kind of a joke, but it turned into a real thing. And people seemed to want this thing. And from that, it grew into a larger group and it grew into a website. And now 20 years later, it's it's a community, it's an organization, it's whatever you want to define it as, a bunch of crazies that come together to have fun celebrating and sharing their love of Disney and positive stuff. And I think what we're going to do tonight is we're going to ask some fun questions that everybody's going to have unique perspectives about. And hopefully we'll surprise a few people along the way. But the first question I want to ask, what is your very first memory of Daps Magic? Go.
Yeah, I think it goes back even before the website and social media and everything else. I think first memory is really childhood growing up with you. And we would have those trips that went down to Disney, and it started getting in our blood and everything. And we really enjoyed just the Disney experience, going to Disneyland. And eventually we got to a point where we had the Yahoo group and all that fun stuff. And I just remember suggesting to you, let's make a website out of this. Why not do that? That seems like a good way to go. I learned a little bit about it, and it just kind of grew from there. I never would have imagined.
That's very true. And I think the second person that joined the team, as I'm looking at tonight, was probably Sarah. Is that right, Sarah, from your memory?
Yeah, I think so.
And what was your first memory of Daps Magic?
I think it was you hitting me up on Facebook being like, hey, I see you like Disney. And that's like all I remember really. But at the time I was like in between jobs, sort of. I was doing some weird other job. And so I had a lot of like intermittent time. And so you're like, hey, do you want to write some blogs? And I was like, yeah, I do.
And it turned out you actually know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was big into like the social media stuff, and it was like when like Twitter was still kind of new and Facebook was just starting to be more than just college kids. And gosh, I'm really like aging myself with this one, but it was a lot of like, how do we grow on Facebook, and how do we grow on Twitter, and what are we doing?
The same things we do today. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, Roger, I think you were next. What was your first memory of Daps Magic? And I have a feeling I know this one. And I have a feeling it was very late at night. I could be wrong.
It was very late at night, yeah. Tuesday nights. It would have been fun if we recorded yesterday. We're recording on a Wednesday instead of a Tuesday. So it's all started on a Tuesday night with something we were involved with. And it just kept coming, and to something called Geeks Corner. Yeah. And even before then, Relive, and then stayed over for Geek Corner and just kept coming back.
Mikey, what was your first memory of Daps?
Actually, my first memory, I remember going down a YouTube rabbit hole of Disney videos, and I came across Geeks Corner. And I started watching
Two
that
for Geeks
regularly.
Corner, huh?
Yeah,
Wow.
actually, yeah, it was Geeks Corner. This was the pre-live stream days, and so it was just catching it weekly as it would come out, and then the live stream started happening, and so I started chatting in there, and the rest is history.
That is very, very true. And Katie, first memory.
My first very conscious memory of Daps Magic is DCA 2.0 opening. I, for those that knew me in high school, I was very like sickly all the time. And I could not go to the opening of DCA 2.0 because I had like a CAT scan the same day. And so like my hand was all bruised and all these things, but I wanted to search for like what was happening, what were the shows. Specifically, I remember watching the Red Car Newsboys from Daps Magic. And that was when I really recognized the logo. And I said, oh, these people always have really good videos. And then also tracking. That's about the same time I followed you on Instagram because I realized there was a person behind the Daps Magic.
That makes sense.
Well, this is Doug Marsh, one of the more recent members of the Daps Magic team. And I'm very pleased and frankly excited to say congratulations on 20 years of Daps Magic. I was working with another large Disney online group for quite some time. And I used to see Mr. Daps at events at Disneyland quite often. In fact, I couldn't help but notice that there was this guy with a trilby and a bow tie that I would see from time to time. And then I don't know at what point I found out that he was Mr. Daps, which I thought was, that's an odd name. But then, it's a Disney site, Daps Magic. I figured out maybe it had something to do with Disneyland annual passes or something like that. But it turns out Mr. Daps and I had something in common that we did not know until I was on Facebook one night. And I was texting with some old friends from high school. And one of them, who I had just joined the group that night, asked me if I was still interested in Disney and went to Disneyland a lot. I said, yes, I do. And she said, oh, well, my son gets to Disneyland all the time. In fact, he has a website. I said, oh, well, if he has a website, maybe I've seen him there at events or something. What is his website? She said, oh, he has a website called Daps Magic. I texted back and I said, your son is Mr. Daps? She said, oh, you've heard of him. So I couldn't wait until the next time I was at Disneyland for an event, and I walked up to him and I said, is your mother, and I said her maiden name from my high school. He said, yes. And I said, well, she was in my high school graduating class. So I've known your family, since before you moved to California, since before you were born. But so that's one way that we found out that we kind of were connected, even though we didn't know we were connected all those years.
Angela, you're up.
All right. Yeah. So as one of the newer members, I was lucky enough to also take advantage of that established content already. So I believe my first memory is Candlelight and the videos from Candlelight, all the good coverage that comes out of that. And it was super ironic because I remember 2019 was the year I first got more involved. And I had just found the video from that year's, from the Saturday night event, and sent it to my mom on that Sunday morning, the morning after. And I was going to the event the same day on that Sunday. And there we go. I bumped into Mr. Daps and we got to chatting and just started to hang out more after that. And I got to become
and Roger too, if I remember correctly.
Yes, both of you guys. Yeah, we got chatting about all the fun things you do and a day waiting for Candlelight.
In the rain.
Yeah, in the rain.
Without umbrellas.
With no umbrellas, absolutely, as you do. Because we didn't bring them, so of course they had to rain. But yeah, Candlelight and all the good coverage, knowing that Daps Magic was a source of quality coverage was definitely one of the things I remember.
And then you kind of just kept sticking around, right?
I sure did. I was that person who just didn't leave. So thanks for.
And then next thing you know, you started filming the videos and you've been doing a great job with that too. And we may
I was going to say, did any of us not just stick around? I feel like that's kind of like a theme of people who contribute to Daps is you don't start out contributing to Daps. You just stick around and then all of a sudden you have a job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is a great community. I don't want to leave. And then we just stick and it's great.
It's like the Muppets. That's how it works, you know? Let's see. Let's go to Roger. How'd you get involved since Angela opened up that topic?
I don't remember exactly how I got involved. I know through Geeks Corner when we were filming pre the live stream. I was the sort of like stage manager, keeping everyone lined up because we had an audience.
And quiet.
And quiet, yeah. I mean, we've had interruptions during those times, and we all remember those. And when we would, sorry to break the fourth wall, do snap magic, rearrange things, that way, and us to kind of stay quiet, and then, continue with the show as if everything was happening live.
And it was.
Right.
That's how I remember it. You just snapped and things happened. Like, isn't that exactly what happened?
Something like that. Yeah.
All right, Mikey, how'd you get involved?
Wow. Like I mentioned earlier, I had started being very active in the chat with the live streams for Geeks Corner, and it was never any kind of intention to gain any kind of attention or anything like that, but it's just like
I did
somehow. And I remember the first person on the team that I actually met in person was Murray at when he made a trip out here, and I met him and we connected and hit it off really well. And then I mean, it's been a great ride all these years since then.
Well, I remember that, and I also remember you'd make your Christmas videos, and we were just cracking up watching those. Johnny and I were, and we're like, we got to get this guy on camera. This guy's funny. And so then you started doing Daps quests and random stuff for us, and it's been a blast ever since. Let's go to, let's see. We already know how Sarah got involved, basically, because that's her origin story. Katie, how'd you get involved with Daps Magic? Which I think I'm sensing another trend here, actually.
Yeah, I would assume you're sensing a trend.
Is that 3 for Geeks Corner? Is that what I'm seeing so far?
Yeah.
Wow.
So the shortened version, the abridged story, is that Mr. Daps was a regular at my Starbucks that I worked at the time. And I found this out, and I was very intent on meeting Mr. Daps because Mr. Daps was like my version of a celebrity. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's just like us, celebrities. They go to Starbucks. So now
you know better.
Celebrities, they're just like us. So I met Mr. Daps. I made it a point to deliver the best customer service that I could. In hindsight, it was really creepy. I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't know where we take the step from point A to point B, because at some point it just becomes, well, do you want to come over to a recording of Geeks Corner? And heart stopped, pass out on the floor. Yes. And then from coming to Geeks Corner, I remember specifically it was Chalk Walk in October, and walking next to Mr. Daps, he goes, oh, would you want to be on Tuesday? You could do a coffee tasting. And again, I almost dropped dead because I was like, this is the coolest thing I could possibly imagine in the whole world. I get to do a coffee tasting on Geeks Corner. And if you go back and watch that first episode, my hands are trembling like crazy. And then it again became, I just stuck around. I didn't go anywhere. And yeah, I guess that's the fangirl success story.
That is a story.
That is a story. Yes.
That's very true. All right, Merlin, we know how you got involved because you already said this too. Is you were the coding guru and the guy that said we should make a website, and look what you caused.
Yeah, I would add to that once I started getting going on that, it's kind of that same theme I was hearing from Angela and On, where you started going and it expands everything you're doing. Because we had the sessions of what about this, and these brainstorming, just laughing about possibilities in some cases. All the videos and things. Hey, we need a video college band. Do you want to help this day? Because I have an annual pass and I can come in that time. And so it just kind of grew as opportunities and things came along. And yeah, just a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, and it's just been a great thing since.
That's always the goal, is lots of crazy ideas and having fun doing them.
I'm thinking it was probably around 2019 when I approached Mr. Daps and said, I've been thinking about doing a blog. And it's kind of an odd theme. 30 years ago at Disneyland, because with 1990 coming up, with 2020 coming up, 1990, the first year that I had an annual pass, would have been 30 years. And, it's kind of a foolish question. Would you like content? Yes, he wanted to have content. So I started writing a blog in January of 2020. And who would have known that just 2 months later, in March of 2020, suddenly all of the Disney blogs, all of the Disney websites, all of the Disney fan organizations would be cut off from Disney movies, going to the theaters, from Disneyland, from Walt Disney World, because of course the pandemic shut everything down. But it didn't do a thing to my blog because, of course, I was covering things that happened 30 years ago, and I had 30 years worth of content all loaded up. So all through the pandemic, I was doing my 30 years ago at Disneyland blog.
So let's go. You can just raise your hand if you want to go first for this one. Who has a favorite Daps memory?
Everyone? I do. I totally do.
Right. Sarah, ladies first, and then Mikey, you're next.
So, oh gosh, what year was it? 2011. I covered D23 for Daps. And this was like in the small days of Daps. So it was me, only me, by myself, because Daps was out of town. And I was like,
actually 2009.
No, it was 11.
Wasn't the
it
first
couldn't
one?
have been 9. Maybe
I think
it was whatever year
anyway.
Dick Van Dyke and the Fantastics played.
Yes.
2011. I was there that year.
Okay, so it was 11. So I'm the only one there. And oh my gosh, it was terrifying because it was basically my first ever press event of any kind. And it's just this big beastly event. And I'm walking out of the press room because, as one does, like, nobody hangs out in the press room, but I was in there just like looking for like whatever was next. And I am face to face with Richard Sherman. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like almost in tears. Like, I'm literally like, this is like the closest thing to meeting Walt Disney that I'm ever going to get. And I'm like, oh my God, Mr. Sherman, can I get a photo with you? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to cry right now. And he looks at me and he says, darling, don't cry because we'll have to take the photo again. and then just, I went on my way and he went on his. And it was just like the most surreal moment ever. I still have that picture somewhere. And I look atrocious in it. Like, let's
Who cares?
not like, but I'm like, but Richard Sherman. And so to this day, anytime Feed the Birds plays in anything, I cry like a baby. Like, you want instant tears for me? You mention Walt Disney and play that song in the same moment, it's over.
Well, speaking of Walt Disney, I have this now. That would have been Daps Magic if I could pull that off and just hit a button and it starts playing and we get hit for copyright. It'd be fun. Yes.
Do they do that on podcasts?
I don't know, but it's funny either way.
It's not
Mikey.
YouTube. It's a little better.
Exactly. All right, Mikey.
Well, it's hard to narrow it down to really one specific experience, but and this is one of those if you know kind of things. But if I had to sum it up into maybe 4 words, it would be, I'm hungry for goat.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I was like, if the next word that comes out of Mikey's mouth have anything to do with a goat, I knew it. I knew it.
And that's why it's my favorite memory.
I knew it.
Do you want to provide context
Absolutely.
for the people that weren't there, or do you want to leave it? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we, a few years ago, had I think we did it a couple, maybe like 3 or 4 episodes. We decided to play Daps and Dragons. It was, boy, that was fun. And we had a goat in as like a companion in our party. And every time we could get the chance, we would try to find a way to eat that goat. Well, some of us would anyway.
I was the one person protecting that goat. Okay, that goat and I. What was his name? Was a pun on Ba, and now I can't remember what it was.
I can't remember.
I remember there was a pun on Ba, or maybe the name just was Ba.
It might have been. I don't recall. I'd have to go back and watch it. But
I'm seeing Angela say yes, and she would know. I feel like.
Okay, yeah. So that was
Ba.
it. So that was a blast, and I would love to do something like that again someday.
We might have to make that. We've been talking with somebody that might have to happen again.
I would not mind that. The funny part about all of that is it turns out that my old boss's son-in-law was also on that podcast with us. So that was a fun little that he randomly threw out one day. And I went, I played D&D with your son-in-law. Oh, that's totally normal. Yeah, one of the scariest moments I think of my life when that got brought up in a professional meeting. I was like, huh?
Wow.
Huh? And I think I'll just go into my favorite.
Sure.
And the 60th. I think the 60th anniversary, specifically closing night of the 60th, Disneyland Forever and Paint the Night. That night was really cold, really long. I remember we were getting like kicked by kids in the back. Like it was that type
was
of
kind
night.
of a theme for the entire 60th. I think from the beginning to the end, if I recall.
But I think about that closing night of the 60th, and that was such a magical send-off for me. And the 60th is really the celebration where I joined Daps. So to me, it was this very like emotional, like I feel like I found where I belong type thing. And Paint the Night is one of the best nighttime parades that has ever hit the Disneyland Resort besides Main Street Electrical Parade.
Bring it back.
I'm just gonna give a shout out to Parade of Dreams as an honorable mention because that was the 50th anniversary parade, and that song still lives rent free in my head.
And that is why I did not say daytime parade. I literally was like, I am not touching daytime parade, specifically nighttime parade, because daytime parade, I don't even know what I would pick for my number one for daytime parade. That's a story for
there are too many that are amazing.
That are really good for different reasons.
All right. Who else has a favorite Daps memory? All right, Angela, go for it.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, something that's one of those once in a lifetimes, I think that'll live with me for the rest of my life is I loved that we got to take a Daps trip. And we got to go to Walt Disney World for the 50th anniversary.
Another milestone.
Yes, it was. So Mr. Daps, Katie, Merlin, Roger, Murray, Mikey, we saw you for sure.
Yeah.
It was a lot of us, and it was such a special moment. I just remember sitting on Main Street waiting for the fireworks to start, as you do, camping out, just thinking like, wow, this is such a privilege just to get to be here for the 50th at all, but to do it with such a great group of people, like to share that community in the real world. It was such a great time.
That was an epic trip. All right, Roger or Merlin, who's it going to be?
I'll take it.
I can go.
All right, you're gonna end.
I've been hearing all these other ones about the 60th, and then I hear 50th at Walt Disney World, and one of mine that been popping up as you've been saying it is the 50th at Disneyland, because we were still earlier on in the Daps days and just didn't have any of the press stuff or anything else. So it was the camping out all night, different things that we did, and it was just wow. You get there and you're just overwhelmed by the immensity of momentous of the occasion. The fireworks, and they just shot up all the way down Main Street, and we were just like everybody else looking around. It's like, what just happened here? This is beyond amazing. And I just remember with that and other times early on, some of my favorite memories are just people. First time I saw people walking up to Mr. Daps, it's like, "Hey, are you Mr. Daps?" And it's just like, "This is just my brother." It's like he's a person. It's like it's just that's what I knew. It's like it hit another level of Daps, and it wasn't just like, "Oh, we're just having fun doing this," but it became something more. And just anytime where that was going on, whether it was the 50th or any other time, it just kind of like just changed my entire perspective of like, wow, this is really something that people care about, and it's become such a big thing. And I just love all those things that have been going on. It's been a great memories. Like it was hard to pick one. I was just like, that's just great with all these celebrations that we just have all these memories that just keep building.
Very true. All right, Roger, what do you got?
I think one of my favorite Daps memories would have to be one of the 24-hour days. I couldn't be there. It was, I think, with the 28 or 30-hour live stream. And
I'm already having pain if you're going where I think you're going.
I had an overnight shift that night at the radio station, and luckily, I work independently when I'm here, but I was able to basically keep Mr. Daps company as we were just watching live stream the different webcams, or heading live into the park. And
was that the year we did the 30-hour live stream?
It was. I think it was 2013.
Yeah, that was.
It was,
that was
a very
brutal.
long night.
and I guess I should hop in. Go ahead.
Oh, and of course, just the various Disneyland Sundays, and being asked by Mr. Daps, "Hey, you're doing a great job on Twitter. Can you turn our Sundays into an article?" And yeah, I did that basically up until the park shut down.
That's true. I forgot about that. That's a good memory as well. And I would probably steal a little bit from a lot of those memories, because I do think it's all of the crazy things we've done together through the years that empower us to do more crazy fun things as we move forward that really are my favorite memories. And I think of different press events that have been fun, doing random stuff or eating random stuff or meeting random people. And as I'm thinking of Sarah's story, I think of the first time I met Richard Sherman, which was at, oddly enough, another D23 event, which was for Legends and Luminaries. And I was wearing a sport coat that apparently looked like his brother's. And so he made a comment about how I kind of reminded him of his brother. And then he played Feed the Birds and a bunch of other songs for us on the piano that used to be in Walt's office. It's once again in his office, but it was in the archives at the time. And those videos are on our YouTube channel. You can dig down deep and find those, and they really are something special. But there was a core group of people that were at that event, and many others, that we got to experience so many of these milestones in Disney history also as well together. So I've enjoyed the community we have here in Daps, and then the community that we have as we cover things for Daps too. And several of you have gotten to go events with me and meet many of those people as well, and that's been a lot of fun. But if I were to pick one moment or one thing, I would probably have to go back to sweeper trains at midnight when the parks would close back in the day, and being the weirdest, craziest, most fun group to ride an entire car on the train every Sunday night for quite some time. It was we even had there was for a while on Instagram, and I don't remember where else, but there was a location if you went up to Main Street Station that said Daps Sweeper Train. And so you could check in, and it was, Foursquare. Foursquare. Yeah, Foursquare. You could check into the Daps Sweeper Train also.
I've enjoyed writing the blog, and I've enjoyed sharing on air. Something I've also really enjoyed doing that I found out I was good at, and that was live tweeting during events. I would say that probably culminated on one of my favorite memories while I was working on an assignment for Daps Magic. It was the final day for Disneyland Splash Mountain. So I decided I would spend the entire day there, and I would tweet about what was going on, take pictures of anything that was happening. And later in the day, I was met by my compatriot Angela, who was taking a lot of great videos. And I had brought along a little content loaded on my phone, preloaded in case things got slow. And I had a lot of fun taking pictures of people who were wearing all sorts of outfits to say goodbye. But my favorite memory has to be when there was a flurry of excitement over the fact that Tony Baxter had arrived. And I knew that he had to have been there because it was one of his attractions and one that he had really shepherded through back all those years ago. And so I walked around to the exit wondering, is he really going to come out the exit of the attraction, or are they going to, take him out through the back way to avoid the crowds? Well, no, Tony was there to enjoy the whole scene, so he came out. All these people came rushing up to greet him. And having done a lot of these kind of events, I took some steps back, calculated where he would walk, and I thought I might be able to get a good photograph with the statue of a Brer Bear, Brer Fox, and Brer Rabbit right behind him. So sure enough, at one point, he sort of disentangled himself from the crowd and took off in a brisk walk. I called to him and said, "Tony, can I get one picture?" And he looks over at me, and unfortunately, he recognized me because we've seen each other at a lot of events. He says, "Oh, don't you have enough pictures of me?" I said, "Well, I don't have a picture of you on the final day of Splash Mountain." So he says, "Well, oh, okay. And you don't have a picture of this either." And then he made a gesture of some kind, and I was clicking off 2 or 3 pictures. And then, other people came rushing up, and he was on his way. And in fact, I then did what I often do when I want to get more pictures. I worked around the crowd all the way down and got ahead of them, and then turned around, took a few more pictures as he was walking out. And then after he actually kind of diverted to a sideways and was gone, I finally started looking on my phone to see, did I get a decent picture? And to my surprise, I found that I had gotten a decent picture of Tony Baxter. And I texted Mr. Daps, and I said, "Mr. Daps, I have a good picture of Tony Baxter on the final day. And I think I also have enough that I could maybe do 2 tweets, or I could combine it all into one. What would you prefer?" Which is kind of a silly question if you think about it. Well, of course you want to do 2 tweets. So the first one was pictures of Tony Baxter with the crowd. But the second one was the picture that I thought people would really like, and that was Tony Baxter holding up 2 little vials of water, one in each hand, with a big smile on his face. And what I did not know is that he did not show those to anyone else other than the Orange County Register photographer. And I tweeted off the first one. I tweeted off the second one. I said, "Even Tony Baxter is here to collect a souvenir of the final day," and then got busy doing some other things. Well, then my phone starts ringing, and I get word from the person who tracks our social media account and says, "Do you know what you did?" I said, "No." And they said, "Well, you tweeted out a picture that is absolutely blowing up." And it was retweeted endlessly. And thank goodness almost all of them were linked to ours. So we ended up with a very, very popular photo, and one that I enjoyed the fact that it was that day, that it was a nice little exchange with Tony Baxter, and of course that it brought a lot of traffic to Daps Magic. Also, one other thing that is not directly related to Disneyland that I really enjoyed doing while I have been with Daps Magic was doing a series of articles on the locations of WandaVision. Because one of my side interests is Hollywood history, and I happened to know where WandaVision was being shot. And so I ended up doing a bit of research, and what I thought would be one little article turned into about 5 different articles. What was funny is the first one, when I was researching to find out what are the locations of WandaVision, by the time I was working on the third one, when I would do a Google search on locations for WandaVision, my own articles would come up at the top of the search, and which were not helpful, by the way, for finding new information. But it was gratifying to know that they were coming up on a Google search when people were looking for that sort of thing. What I like best about Daps Magic is, first and foremost, that it's a place to go and have fun as a Disney fan. I've always tried as much as possible to remind myself that this is for fun. So we have fun. And it's very, very Disney fun, although I like the fact that Daps is also involved with geek culture and other odd and unusual things. And of course, something that's really important to me is that it's a very positive place with a very positive point of view. Uh, um, I personally experienced that when I was there meeting some of them on the day that they were offering the first chances to experience the Runaway Railway attraction in the reimagined Toontown. And I don't know if you remember this, but you had to get reservations, and you had to open your phone, and you had to use the app, and you had to try and get in. And I was getting a little frustrated because I was not getting in. And after the last opportunity had passed, and I said, "Well, I guess I'm not going to be able to get in here." They said, "Well, we think we can figure out something for you." And the next thing I know, they brought me a magic band, something I would not have purchased for myself. And they said, "We've also already loaded your time. You have a reserved time to experience Runaway Railway. So if you get over there, you'll be able to see the attraction, and we'll want to know what you think about it." So that was a really charming and wonderful thing they did, and I really appreciate that.
That segues very nicely into my next question for each of you is, what is your absolute favorite thing about Daps Magic? What's the best thing you like? Whatever way you want to say it. I'm going to go with Merlin first, because I feel like you can be ready.
I could be ready. And honestly, I think it's that focus on positivity we had from day one, going back to why we even created everything in the first place. There was a lot of negative groups and things that were going on. We just wanted that positive experience, and we want to have fun with Disney, not just complain all around. And all the positive experiences, and the way that everybody here, everybody that I've interacted with throughout the years with Daps, we just bring positivity and just the fun and just the energy and the excitement and all of that to everything we do, whether it's from the old ghost hunting videos to the fun of, hey, let's do 24 hours Disney Day and see Billy Hill and the Hillbillies at 4:45 a.m. and we're just tired as can be and everybody's having a great time. But just, it's really that Disney magic, and the way that Daps just brings that magic to everyone else and being able to be a part of it is really my favorite thing. And I just see that continuing and blossoming and growing. I love how it's continuing. Absolutely, hands down, my favorite.
Well, I've always felt that if you're going to be a fan of something, you should probably cheer it on. So I've always appreciated that as well, too. So let's go to Sarah.
Oh, dang. I think my favorite thing about Daps is just how open it is, because over the years we have all had harebrained ideas where we're like, let's try this thing. Is it gonna work? And I mean, I still have a year's worth of Tiki Bird haiku that I was every week for over a year. I wrote a haiku about the Enchanted Tiki Room. Hawaiian Fridays, baby. And someday that will be a book. I have them all. But
I think we should bring them back to make it a bigger book.
I tried so hard. I had Haunted Mansion ones. Maybe I just need to bring back the haiku life. But I think that's my favorite thing is that we all get to just let our freak flags fly, I guess. And we all have our own things, and we all get to be able to share that to help make the site better and grow it.
Love it. I don't know. I think Hawaiian Fridays need to come back. I love that idea. Those were always fun, and you never knew what you're going to get. All right. Who wants to go next? Mikey, how about you?
Sure. Yeah. My favorite thing would really just kind of have to be that it's definitely been it's been a great outlet for me creatively, with things that I've done like the Mikey's Daps Quest and all kinds of other things that I've done, and things that we are thinking about doing in the future. But yeah, it's just been great. A great encouragement of creativity and the community that we have on the team, and the friends of the Daps Magic, and it's all been incredible. And I can't sing the praises any louder.
Love it. All right, Katie, I saw you always raise your hand. I can speak. What you got?
I also raise my hand. I think the greatest thing about Daps Magic is the people. And I think that that's a recurring theme that we're hearing over and over again. I'm sure that, I mean, that'd be really awkward if Angela and Robert and Roger didn't say something that was like really not, that would be really awkward. But I think it's just a recurring theme that you're going to hear is the people are very special. It is a community that is not too cool for anybody. It is not going to exclude people. If you are willing to play nice and to enjoy things, you are more than welcome to be part of the Daps Magic community. And there's definitely places that aren't like that, and not just Disney sites. It's places in the world that are rules to entry or requirements, or you have to be this way or dress this way or do this thing. And like Sarah said, it's a lot of best idea wins. Like, it doesn't matter who the idea comes from. If it's going to make Daps better, it's going to make Daps better. And
sometimes it's any idea wins.
To tease Mr. Daps a little bit, like, we're writing about Taylor Swift now. I mean, obviously there's a Disney connection there, and it's fun, but it definitely came from, well, if Katie's interested in it, maybe somebody else is going to be interested in it.
I mean, I did text Daps and I was like, hey, I see some Taylor Swift is coming to Disney Plus, and I got it. Katie's got it. And I'm like, yeah.
But that's just, it's what's so fun and so different is something I will say at work is it's more exciting when people are passionate about things. If you're doing something just to check a box, it's not a very exciting life to lead, and it's not something exciting to be a part of. But we frequently have a group of people that are not necessarily all sharing the same opinions, but we're all positive and we want to see our favorite things succeed. And so it just feels like an environment where good things are going to come out of it. Like, you don't walk away feeling bad about yourself or gross or icky. Like, you feel uplifted.
Very good.
I do think that that's how Daps sets itself apart, because it's not just the same old stuff. There's such a variety of people who contribute that the content that we all create is vastly different from one another. And so it doesn't feel so samey. True.
All right, Roger, what do you got?
The friendships, the positivity, and I think, and we're also different. That's the thing. We all come from different backgrounds. We're at different phases of our lives, every day, and we do, different things every day. I'm at work when I write most of the articles. I'll find.
We won't tell.
It's okay. They know. I'll find time to sneak in 10-15 minutes to write up a Daps article, and I consider that like my little break from work. And I'll tell people, I'm like, I'm doing something for my friends Disney fan site. You should check it out. And just the connections too. Some of us have heard over the years, if you're not having fun, you're done. And I'm not done having fun. That's a big part of it too.
Love it. All right, Angela.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, what everybody has said is absolutely spot on. The only thing I can think to add to that is giving back. That it's not just about us and look at us, it's what we can shine back into the community. And of course, those things like Chalk Walk and representing Chalk, making sure that their good work gets known by the community, and that we do everything we can to support their mission. But even down to what I see is something that means a lot to me is what I can do with my role here at Daps Magic, which tends to be videographer a lot of times. I absolutely treasure the comments that we get that say, hey, this video meant so much to me. It was something my dad and I used to do. He's not around anymore, and it triggers a memory for me. Or I'm in the hospital right now, and I can't get to the park. So this really, really is a special thing that helps me feel better today. That's something that I don't know if everybody's thinking about when they create content, that it's for people and that it means something to those that are consuming it and watching it. And it's, I think it's something that we do intentionally, and I really value that.
Love it. I'm not going to
it's the
add
same thing with me.
any of that.
Like when I was doing the videos so many times, similarly, like I was just thinking candlelight, and you'd be like, oh, like, what are you here for? It's like, oh, we're recording for Daps Magic. Like, here's the place you can go and see it. It's like, oh, this is good because I like my person that I care about can't be here, but their family member is in the choir or something like that. And so we do the Zoom pans, and they just come alive knowing that they were going to be shared and they were able to share it with other people. And just that, I agree with you 100%, Angela. It just really means a lot to people.
All right. Well, we're starting to run out of time, but that's okay because we have one more question. And this could be completely different for anybody because honestly, nobody knows what's going on in my brain at any given moment. So there's lots of different answers for this one. But what are you most looking forward to in the future with Daps Magic? And raise your hand if you have something quick. Otherwise, I'm just going to go to Merlin again. Oh, Mikey, I think I see your hand up. Yes.
So I don't know. We can consider this maybe like a little bit of a teaser here, but there's an iron in the fire currently, and it looks like we may be bringing back Mikey's Daps Quest in a new format. So I would say keep an eye out for that because I think it's going to be a great Mikey's Daps Quest 2.0.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So I will continue writing 30 years ago at Disneyland. And I guess what I'm looking forward to is maybe 30 years of 30 years ago at Disneyland. That would mean I will be writing my last blog entries in 2050, when I would be 92 years old. So we'll see how that works out. But in the meanwhile, I will enjoy continuing to write the blog and seeing what else comes up. So congratulations on 20 years.
Katie, you're up.
I think I'm the most excited about the growth. We've had very intentional growth the last 2 years, and we've been very focused on what we want to do. And I think that the growth gives us, all of us, the opportunity to touch more lives with what we're doing, and to have more people feel seen because we're letting the freak flag fly and things like that. Like,
I think we need to make a t-shirt.
Yeah, but we get.
I will buy it.
Yeah, with the Daps Magic logo. We get to make content where people feel seen and they feel included in what we're doing. And I think that to me is just the most exciting thing right now, is just how many people are resonating with what we're doing at Daps.
And we hear it all the time. It's very fun to go into the parks or get messages on, you pick your social media platform, YouTube, or even email. Like people like this, and they like to be a part of that. And that's a fun and weird thing to build and to watch happen around. Actually, it's really just kind of happens, doesn't it? It's more like gardening than anything else, I suppose. All right. How about you, Angela?
Sure. I totally agree with Katie, and that's not to steal her thunder, but watching where things are going to go in the future. I think we've got this great momentum going right now. And there's a lot of doors that are opening up, and I can see them going to some really exciting places. And, on a personal level too, I enjoy watching myself grow as a person, being more open to new things and learning about things I never knew about before, learning from each of you guys who are here and those members of our team who could make it, getting different perspectives, making myself a better person in the process, getting to then reflect that back out and share to the community that we serve.
Love it. Let's go with Roger.
Let's see, looking to the future, it's been said, growth for the site, of course, and growth personally, and professionally with Daps. And I'll occasionally get those, hey, can you write this particular article? And it, focuses sometimes on the business aspect, the challenging ones. And I'm like, okay, all right. Just to try to make it simple for everyone to understand. And, I'm getting better at those. And then I see myself as, I guess, the official Magic key correspondent once those stories break, and, taking what Disney says and trying to expand on it, because sometimes you've got nothing, but then you'll see in an hour Discord.
I will say that is really impressive. You have real talent for taking what equates to being a sentence of information and turning it into like an entire post. Like I couldn't do it. I see your posts and I'm like, gosh, I can't do that.
Sometimes I'm like, where did he pull this from? This is genius. Like, you make connections to things I hadn't thought about. And I'm like, mind blown. Because I was like, it's a bit of a non-story. We only have a sentence of information. And Roger's like, I'm in.
Right.
Like,
some of that comes
get
out
it done.
from the new Discord chat saying, hey, we had the Chewy popcorn bucket release. And the article, was basically an Instagram post of like 2 sentences. And I had it written. And then I was looking, like, I think this is ready. And Doug had said, hey, why don't you put the backstory of Chubby? I'm like, wait a minute, I never thought of that. So I looked it up and, there we go. Yeah. So we're all, learning from each other.
Team effort also, huh? Well,
yes.
Good job, Roger. Who did I miss? Go for it.
Well, I'm being a little selfish in what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to bringing back some of the magic to Disney by looking back at the history of Disney. And I have a degree in history, and I have been struggling for several years on what to contribute to Daps that fits, because I'm not in California. And I think getting to dig into the history of Disney and share that with people and remind people why we all think Disney is magic. It's not lounge flies. It's not ears. It's, those are wonderful. I have plenty of them. I'm not hating on that. That is absolutely my cup of tea also. But we're all here because we love Disney, and we love like that positive feeling that Disney gives us. And so many people were so important in creating that. I feel like we need to bring back the why, and touching into the history does that.
It does. And it's been fun to work with you on that too, and get to some fun connections with different parts of the company and beyond.
Can you email that person for me? Can you, this is a long shot, but can you just like hit them up?
Hey,
maybe they'll help me research.
And it's working. It's been fun. All right, Merlin, wrap this up.
Well, obviously, it's going to be the return of the no-name game, because that wasn't complex at all. No, actually, that's not really it. I was just thinking back of the future, and kind of like Sarah was talking about. You look back at the past, and I just think of how Daps has already in 20 years, it grew so much more than anything I ever could have imagined. And honestly, that's what I'm looking forward to, is like, there's so many possibilities, so many places we could go. But like Katie said, we have the amazing people. And with these kind of people, with the passion, the fun, the positivity, and just seeing the opportunities, the experiences that are going to come, I'm just looking forward to just seeing what the next 20 years and beyond brings, and just sharing that with everybody. I think it's just going to be a wonderful time, and I can't wait to see what happens.
I completely agree, and I suppose I should answer my own question on that one as well. And I would take everything all of you have said and more, and I would just say the future is going to be more positive, more people, and more fun memories as we do all of this stuff. And maybe that will mean going on Disney cruises together. Maybe that will mean going to Shanghai Disney together. Who knows? Like, it could be anything, or just meeting up at D23, the Ultimate Disney Fan Event. All of those things and more. It's going to be a lot of fun, and a lot of course, music, puppets, and other random things that we do, because look at who we are. How could we not? But it's going to be a whole lot of fun, and we're going to do it together. And I'm sure there'll be a bunch of whole new people that are doing it alongside us. And in 20 years, you'll be like, quadruple the amount of people on this thing, and hopefully the technology can handle that. Very quickly, I'm just going to go across the screen. Tell people if they want to follow you or find you, where can they find you very quickly?
I'm on all the socials, pretty much. It's Mikey Really Likey, Mikey _really _likey.
So hard. Angela, where are you at?
Yeah. So I'm primarily on Instagram and Threads at the moment. And my handle is my first name, Angela, the word animal, and then LVR, Angela Animal Lover.
Super easy. Roger, how about you?
On all platforms as RGR Rabbit 1. Yeah, it's super easy to find me. Story, when I share my stories, if you like food, I share a lot of my food. But then, Disney news as well, too.
Very fair. All right, Sarah, where can people find you?
I'm everywhere, as Spooky Sarah says. I have Disney accounts, but I'm never on them. I'm always on Spooky Sarah Says or Geeks Who Eat, and it's same across the board everywhere.
And we will put those in the show notes as well. Merlin, you don't really do a whole lot of social media. Go to Daps.
In most. Yeah. I'm behind the scenes on most everything that you could think of, so I usually hide away, but you can find me on formerly Twitter X as Merlin Daps. You'll see my fingerprints on everything, and you can always go through Mr. Daps too if you really want to get a hold of me.
There you go. And Katie.
I am on all social media at KatieBear13. Predominantly, I am on the platform formerly known as Twitter, because I think that's where I'm the funniest. If you disagree, don't tell me, because I'd like to live in delusion. That is Katie with a C and 2 I's, CAITIE. If you have a problem with it, talk to my mom. I didn't spell my own name. Bear like the animal, 13 like my favorite number. KatieBear13.
Perfect. And you can find me at Mr. Daps just about everywhere. I try to keep things simple. Well, thank you all for being here and for sharing with us about Daps Magic from quite a few different perspectives. It was fun to hear all of your different thoughts, your stories, and hopes for the future. All right, on each Daps Magic the podcast, we are going to wrap things up with 2 things. We hope you enjoy finding the answer to this and putting on your paleontology hat. Maybe it looks like Dr. Grant. I don't know. If there is more than one correct answer, we'll do a random drawing, and for our winner, we will send them a Daps prize. Happy hunting, everybody. Every month to answer or complete the quest in whatever way is called for. The first no-name game is going to be a quest. For this quest, share with us at dapsmagicnonamegame@gmail.com what the oldest dinosaur is at Disneyland's Primeval World, along with a picture of this specific dinosaur. Thank you for listening to our first episode of Daps Magic, the podcast. If you have any thoughts or suggestions, please let us know in the comments or on social media. We hope you'll join our community on Patreon or on Facebook as we enjoy celebrating Disney and positive stuff. We have some exciting things planned for the future episodes, so we look forward to chatting with you then. Now, as we enter our next 20 years of Daps Magic, we hope that you will join us and help make the world a little bit more positive and a little bit more kind. One way that we can do this is by joining together for the Chalk Walk, and you can join our Chalk Walk team at chalkwalk.org/dapsmagic. Join us on Sunday, July 21st, 2024, as we have a fantastic time walking through Disneyland and Disney California Adventure while also supporting the Children's Hospital of Orange County. At the end of each podcast, we will be playing messages that were sent in from you, our listeners, who wanted to join the conversation. So make sure to listen to that after I sign off. Thank you again for listening to Daps Magic, the podcast. Know that we appreciate you and we are very thankful for you. Make it a great week, everybody, and keep kind.